fucking warm in here, man. Relax, bro. You've probably clicked on this video because you want to know why should I stop playing sports. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you shouldn't. So if that's all you want to hear, click off now. But if you want to hear my real explanation, listen up, guys. I think as a young man, or even if you're like 18 years old, so you're basically a man, you need to become a man. How do we become a man, you may ask? You should take activities that a man does. Of course, playing sports is good, but I have felt in playing sports, especially team sports such as like soccer, rugby, tennis. Of course, tennis can also be played solo, but you know what I mean. The more of the responsibility is in your team and not in yourself, so you don't actually learn how to take full responsibility. And that's why I chose fighting instead. I like to fight, not only because you're becoming mentally more fortitude, you become physically stronger, but it also requires you to take full responsibility of every action that you've done. Something like a team sport. I've also played like football for I think more than 10 years now, so I'm not new to the concept. But if you have, for example, you have a bad day at soccer or football, how I like to call it, your teammates can still carry you, but it's something like fighting. If you have a bad day, that's what you're gonna show up to. And that's my personal perspective. And also, if you don't make any money, why would you do it? There's so better careers where you can get a nicer body, not only for people around you, but you yourself feel better. I've noticed this myself. Once I stopped playing football, I loved football, but I knew I needed to change. I wanted maybe a little bit more muscle, more tone. And I've achieved that, but as you can see, big muscle here. But if you just keep playing these cardiovascular heavy sports where you need to run a lot, and there's nothing wrong with running, but there's a better forms of cardio, such as sprinting. More on the anaerobic side. But for example, football focuses a lot of aerobic condition, same as marathon runners and swimmers, and they have a nice lean body, but never super muscular. And as a man, I think you should have some muscle at least. If you also look at these professional football players, they don't have the nice body. I know a lot of these pictures are actually edited, but if you want me to, I can put up some pictures. Let's say an average fighter and an average football player. You tell me which physique looks better. And it's not only for yourself, but people around you. Your image is super important. Your personal body is super important. It's basically how you're gonna get a lot more attention in this society. I'm not saying I agree with this society, of course, but it's just the way it is. And you don't really have a choice. You're just playing the game. We're all playing this game, and this society, it really rewards attention. And most of the attention is now, how do you get attention? If you have a nice body, pretty face, things like this. So we need to do our best to become more attractive. Of course, if you really like football, it's your passion, you do you, nothing wrong. But I'm just saying, personally, I wouldn't do it because you don't really make any money and you don't really have a nice body. Let's be honest. You may have a good conditioning, but you can also have that good conditioning anaerobically instead of aerobic, such as fighting or sprinting. And that's what I'm basically doing. Also learns you how to take full responsibility, as I've already said. But I just think it's important also for a man to be able to defend himself, to be able to defend his family. But you do you, I guess. But that's my opinion. And I've also, you can't really eat a lot of like red meat as a footballer. You can do, but it's not optimal. You need to eat a lot of carbs because you need to run a lot more. It's logical, but since I've made the switch, I think my life has been better. I can eat more red meat now. I can obviously eat more. Of course, I'm not as lean, but you can also get as lean like with doing sprints and shit. So it's not that you can only be lean while playing football. So but that's my personal opinion. I've also noticed I couldn't take creatine during I was playing football because I would literally get bloated up, and it was not nice. I used to weigh about 78 kilo. I think I was like 15, 16. But once I took creatine, I blew up to like 81. So my conditioning was all shit, and so I had to stop taking it. But I want to look bigger, so that's just important. So then I stopped to play football. I switched to kickboxing. I took creatine. Right now I'm about 84 kilos. I'm definitely not fat. I think I'm around 13% body fat, but that's another reason. While stopping to play football, I also increased my weight in the gym, how much I could lift. I reached 1,000 pounds club. I went on to kickboxing for about 12 months. I learned a new environment, and that's also something. If you stay in that environment, if you stay in that sort of like clubbing after the match, Saturday or Sunday, and you club, you drink beer, you got hangover, like it's like the same and the same over again. I wanted to change, and so I think you should also do that. Just try it, even if you don't like it, maybe come back. But it's just much better that way, once you have a personal sport, an individual sport, you can take full responsibility of your actions, and you can become a feared man, respectable man. You have to be able to fight. You have to be able to defend your family, in my opinion. And how you imagine, right? This is just something I thought about. It's very logical, but somebody on the street, your woman gets literally harassed by another man. And what are you gonna do if you don't know how to fight? You're gonna kick a ball, bro? Fucking, that's not gonna work, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, if you're able to fight, you can fight him man to man, and you have a great chance of winning because you're doing it for a long time. But what are you gonna do? Kick a ball? It's never going to work. But that's just my personal opinion. Leave your opinion down below. I would love to read some comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.